Come here. Not just in the casual way people say, "Hey, come here a sec." I mean really, come here. Sit down. Close the door. Turn down the noise in your head just a little. Come sit right here with me, in the dark, in that place inside you that nobody else sees. Close enough that I don't have to shout. Close enough that I can say this softly, almost like a secret, without the whole world hearing. Because what I'm about to tell you may be the most painful and the most merciful thing anyone has ever said to you. You are dying. Not in a dramatic movie scene way. You are dying slowly, quietly, cell by cell, from the weight of people you never agreed to carry. And before you rush to argue, "No, I'm fine. I'm just tired. I'm just stressed. I'm just busy," I want you to notice something. You are exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You are resentful in a way that gratitude lists don't cure. You are lonely in a way that being surrounded by people does not touch. You're not falling apart because you're weak. You're not drowning because you're bad at boundaries. You're not broken because you care too much. You are disappearing because somewhere along the way, you learned a tragic confusion. You confused love with rescue. You confused presence with management. You confused your unbearable discomfort with someone else's choices for compassion. And every time you throw another rope to someone who has no intention of climbing, every time you jump into the fire after someone who keeps walking back into the flames, a small, sacred piece of your own life quietly burns away. A little more of your joy, a little more of your trust in people, a little more of your capacity to feel your own feelings and hear your own voice. Let me strip this down to its bare bones, because someone has to stop speaking in polite, therapeutic euphemisms and actually say it. The person you are trying to save does not want to be saved. Not by you. Maybe not by anyone. Not yet. They are not drowning. They are swimming in water that feels like home. You are standing on the shore, red-faced and desperate, screaming, "It's too hot. It's too deep. You're going to die." While they smile and wave and show you yet again their perfect backstroke through the flames. You think you're holding a door open. They think you're blocking the exit. You think you're offering wisdom. They hear judgment, criticism, and condescension. You think you're loving them. They feel managed, monitored, controlled. And perhaps the cruelest part, the part that keeps your eyes wide open at 3 a.m., replaying every conversation, hating yourself for not finding the right words, is this. Every time you rush in to pull them out, you become part of the system that keeps them exactly where they are. Your rescue becomes their oxygen. Your worry becomes their proof that they still matter, even if they refuse to matter to themselves. Your constant advice becomes the lullaby they fall asleep to in the bed of chaos they insist on keeping. You are not saving them. You are helping them stay comfortably miserable, powerfully powerless, tragically safe. And the price of this arrangement is your life. The curse of the helper. I know how harsh this sounds. I know the immediate protest that rises up in you like a wave. But if I stop helping, I'm abandoning them. But what if they really do need me, and I'm not there? But I can see so clearly what they can't. Am I just supposed to watch them ruin their life? Yes, you can see. That is the curse of the helper. You are the one who sees the pattern from 10 miles away. You're the one who sees the red flags while everyone else calls them decorations. You're the one who sees the train coming while they sit cross-legged on the tracks, humming their favorite song. You see the problem. You see the solution. You see the path out. And because you see, you believe you are responsible. But sight is not responsibility. Love is not ownership. Clarity is not control. You were given eyes to witness, not to manage other people's destinies. Let me offer you a sentence that might crack your heart open and set it free in the very same moment. Their life is not your emergency. Read it again. Their life is not your emergency. Their chaos is not your assignment. Their refusal to change is not your failure. It is their freedom. And the most loving thing you may ever do in this lifetime, the most terrifying, astonishing, gut-wrenching act of love, is to let them have that freedom. Even when their freedom looks like self-destruction to you. Even when their choices look like slow-motion suicide from where you're standing. How change actually works, and why your rescue never will. You have been secretly believing a lie. If I love them enough, they'll change. If I explain it clearly enough, they'll wake up. If I stand by their side long enough, they'll finally choose better. You may not say it out loud, but it's the operating system underneath your every intervention. The problem? That is not how human beings work. Not you, not them, not anyone. You do not change when someone else loves you harder. You change when staying the same becomes unbearable. Think about your own life. You did not quit the toxic job the first time a friend said, "You deserve better." You quit when the Sunday night dread grew louder than the comfort of the paycheck. When your body started revolting, when even your joyless days off tasted like fear and resentment. You did not leave the relationship the first time someone pointed out the red flags. You left when the loneliness inside the relationship became more painful than the loneliness of your own bed. You did not stop the addiction when someone cried and begged and threatened to leave. You stopped when waking up hating yourself became worse than the withdrawal, when looking in the mirror felt like staring at a stranger you could no longer tolerate being. That is how change works. For everyone. Always. Not 1 second before the pain of staying outweighs the terror of leaving. So your beautifully articulated, carefully timed, love-drenched interventions, to you, they feel like lifelines. To the other person, they are rain on a duck's back, pleasant background noise that changes nothing. Your late-night paragraphs, the books you send, the podcasts you recommend, the "I'm worried about you" speeches you practice in your head. They are lullabies that help them sleep more soundly in the very bed they refuse to get out of. You are not the catalyst. You are the cushion. And cushions do not create transformation. They delay it. The butterfly and the knife. There is an old Zen story the teachers love to tell. A monk walks past a cocoon and sees it trembling. Inside, a butterfly struggles, pushing and twisting against the tight shell that once kept it safe but now keeps it trapped. The monk, moved by compassion, takes out a small knife and carefully slices the cocoon open to help. The butterfly tumbles out, wet and distorted. Its body is swollen. Its wings are shriveled. Because it didn't struggle, the fluid that should have moved into its wings never did. They remain small, soft, useless. The butterfly dies within hours. The struggle was not cruelty. The struggle was the curriculum. The pressure, the friction, the claustrophobia, all of it was necessary training for the wings that were trying to grow. You, my dear rescuer, are that monk, and the people you are trying to save are that butterfly. Your compassion keeps slicing open cocoons that were never yours to cut. Not because you don't love them enough, but because you love them so intensely that you cannot bear to watch their discomfort. The problem is, every time you relieve their discomfort, you also relieve them of the opportunity to grow wings. So put down the knife, put down the rope, put down the emergency toolkit you carry for every crisis that isn't actually yours. Put it down, and then stand there, hands empty, heart pounding, and watch what happens when the water finally rises to their chin and you do not dive in. Some will suddenly remember they know how to swim. Some will find a boat that was always 3 feet away, obscured by the haze of your constant rescuing. Some will call out to someone else. Some will purely out of spite or pride, walk across the water just to prove you wrong. And yes, some will drown. That last possibility is the chain around your ankle, isn't it? The terror that keeps you trapped. Here is the thought you don't want to look at too closely. If I stop rescuing them, they might die. And if they die, it will be my fault. So you keep playing God in a life that isn't yours. You keep offering medical-grade CPR to someone who keeps jumping back into traffic. Your nervous system has been living on red alert for so long, it doesn't know how to stand down. But here is the brutal, quiet, merciful truth. Their death was never in your hands. Their life was never yours to manage. Their choices were never yours to override. You were never God. You were only ever a human being who happened to see clearly, who happened to care deeply, standing on the shore, watching someone swim in their own chosen sea. You're allowed to love them fiercely. You're allowed to grieve for what you wish they would choose. You're allowed to walk away when they repeatedly choose the water over your outstretched hand. That is not abandonment. That is respect. I trust you to live your life, even when your choices terrify me. I trust you to walk your path, even when I would never choose it for myself. I trust that your soul knows the curriculum, even when your personality is failing the class. When you start relating to people from that respect, instead of from fear, something holy begins to shift. What happens when you stop being the savior? When you release the role of rescuer, you don't become cold. You don't become selfish. You don't become uncaring. You become honest. You stop being the exhausted parent in every relationship. You become a peer again, a lover, a friend, a witness. You stop leaking your life force into black holes disguised as projects. You start having energy for your own becoming. You stop resenting the people you love for never appreciating your sacrifices, for never changing enough in return for the emotional labor you've been pouring into them. You start meeting them as equals, instead of as problems to be fixed. Your conversations begin to change. You stop asking, "What can I do to make you see?" You start asking, "What are you choosing? What do you want? What are you willing to do for that want?" You stop apologizing for their pain. You start acknowledging its existence and its purpose. You might say things like, "I see that you're hurting. I'm here if you want company. I'm here if you want to brainstorm possibilities. But I won't drag you somewhere you don't want to go. I trust you to make choices for your own life. I don't agree with all of them. I'm scared of some of them, but they're yours. I love you, but I will not be your safety net for the consequences you keep choosing not to face." That kind of honesty is not cruelty. It is clean, clear love. Some people, when faced with this new version of you, the one who will still listen but will not rescue, the one who will still care but will not carry, will do something unexpected. They will rise. When the cushion is removed, when the bailout doesn't arrive, when the familiar chaos finally has to be felt without the anesthetic of your endless support, some of the people you love will finally stand up. Not because you saved them, but because you stopped preventing them from saving themselves. And the ones who drift away, let's talk about them too, because they exist. The ones who fade out of your life when you stop playing medic, therapist, financial advisor, emotional sponge, unpaid parent. You know exactly who they are. The moment you stop checking in first, your conversations die. The moment you stop offering help, the relationship goes quiet. The moment you stop bending your boundaries for their emergencies, the connection dissolves. It feels like abandonment. It feels like rejection. It feels like proof that you were never enough without all the things you did. But look a little closer. They were never loving you. They were loving what you provided. They were attached to the role you played, not the person you are. They were in relationship with the version of you who would set yourself on fire to keep them warm. When that version retires, the relationship reveals itself for what it always was: transactional. You were the free therapist, the human wallet, the 3 a.m. crisis line, the endless validator. They gave you just enough crumbs to keep you invested. Gratitude here, affection there, the occasional, "I don't know what I'd do without you." You mistook those crumbs for a feast. So when they drift away after you stop doing the emotional labor of 10 people, you have not lost a soulmate. You have undergone surgery. Something that never truly belonged in your life has been cut away. There is blood, yes. There is pain, yes. There is also the possibility of healing that was never going to come while the infection remained. It's okay to grieve those losses. Grief is not proof that you made the wrong choice. Grief is proof that something meaningful ended, even if what ended was your illusion. Your permission. Slip to stop dying for other people. You've spent years, maybe decades, carrying a secret job description no one formally gave you. Savior of everyone I love. Unpaid, unrested, unthanked. Let's rewrite that job description together. Here is your permission slip, written in every sleepless night, every exhausted sigh, every moment you wanted to scream, "What about me?" but didn't. You are allowed to stop saving people who refuse to be saved. You are allowed to still love someone and let them fail spectacularly. You are allowed to see the train coming and not throw your body on the tracks as a barricade. You are allowed to have a life that is not measured by how many drowning people you drag to shore. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say, "No more." You are allowed to say, "I love you, but I will not do this again." You are allowed to be human instead of hero. Heroes die young and alone in most stories. Humans get to grow old, make art, fall in love, plant gardens, laugh until they cry, take naps, learn new songs, change their minds, start over. You are allowed to choose being human. The space you forgot you needed. When you finally put down the weight you were never meant to carry, something almost shocking appears around you. Space. Space to breathe all the way into your own lungs instead of breathing in half sips because you're always waiting for the next disaster to hit. Space to notice that your body has been talking to you for years, through tight shoulders, clenched jaws, headaches, insomnia, and you were too busy monitoring everyone else to listen. Space to ask yourself questions you haven't had time or courage to ask. What do I actually want if no one else's needs are louder than mine? What am I curious about now that I'm not studying everyone's emotional weather reports? What would I do with one free afternoon if I didn't automatically use it to fix somebody else's crisis? Space to create something that isn't a rescue plan, a piece of music, a painting, a garden, a side business, a new recipe, a poem, a morning routine, a life. Space to feel your own feelings, unblended from everyone else's emergencies. You might discover that beneath all the anxiety about others, there is your own grief, your own anger, your own disappointment with the way you have abandoned yourself while calling it love. That is not selfishness, that is sovereignty. Selfishness says, only my needs matter. Sovereignty says, my needs matter too. Selfishness tramples others to avoid discomfort. Sovereignty holds its ground and says, I will not disappear so you can stay comfortable in your chaos. Selfishness disconnects. Sovereignty clarifies. And only from sovereignty, from the clear, grounded place of owning your own life, can real love ever flow. Because real love is not, I will die so you can live. Real love is, I will live my life fully and allow you to live yours, and we will meet where our choices overlap in honesty and mutual respect. Let them choose the water. So what do you do now practically? You let them choose. Let them choose the water. Let them choose the fire. Let them choose the relationship you can't comprehend, the job that's killing them, the coping mechanism you wish you could rip from their hands. Not because you no longer care, but because you finally understand. Your job is not to prevent their pain. Your job is to stop contributing to your own. You can still offer a hand when they ask sincerely for help and show with their actions that they're ready to change. You can still listen when they need to cry. You can still say, "I'm worried," once, but you stop repeating yourself. You stop rearranging your life around their storms. You stop sacrificing your well-being on the altar of their resistance. You step back far enough that they can feel the full weight of their own choices. Some will call you cold. Some will accuse you of abandoning them. Some will weaponize your old guilt against your new boundaries. Let them. The shore is wide. There is room for you to stand where the waves can't knock you over anymore. The night is quiet when you finally silence the sirens in your head that keep announcing emergencies that are not yours. And for the first time in years, your arms are empty. Empty of other people's struggles, empty of other people's consequences, empty of the future you were trying to drag them into. Rest them. You were never meant to carry the world. You were only ever meant to carry one thing, your own wild, precious, irreplaceable life. Carry that with tenderness and courage. Let the rest drown or swim or float or walk on water, on their own terms, in their own time. Either way, it was never your rescue to perform. It has always been their wings to grow.